everybody. Grant Miller here. Miami Communities. I'm with Commissioner Danielle Cohen Higgins.
Whoop.
Hey, we're in the house. Before we go on, let's go to her video. Let's see what's up.
I'm Danielle Cohen Higgins, a mom of two, an attorney, and your neighbor in South Dade, proudly serving as your Miami-Dade County Commissioner. Being a mother has taught me that you don't get to cut corners with people's futures, and that's exactly how I've led. I've made sure you know where every tax dollar has been spent, took on powerful developers who were determined to build on protected lands, and held accountable those who promised thousands of South Dade jobs. I'm raising my family here, and you can always count on me to fight for yours. No one fights like a mother.
It's interesting, like a mother. I always ask you how your kid's doing. And I love that your kids are in your activities. Who takes your kids to school?
I do. Every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning. And I pick them up every afternoon.
Because before you know it,
like this. Ari's already going to be 14 at the end of this year, and it kind of blows my mind that I only have
high school or is in
he's in middle school. He's going to go into 8th grade this coming fall. So
do they both go to the same school?
They do go to the same school in the Gables. And, you know, as a parent, when you start counting back and thinking, oh my gosh, I only have, 5 more summers, 5 more Christmas vacations, 5 more years before this little guy potentially goes away to college, I'm not, frankly, prepared for that.
They say 85% of the time you spend with your kids, the whole life. When they go away to college, that's it. You only got 20% more.
That's right. That's right. And then I'm going to be begging, right, to come and spend time with me. So this time is very, very valuable. I wear a lot of hats. I'm obviously a lawyer for 20 years. I have a full litigation practice. I'm obviously a commissioner for the last 5.5 years. I'm a wife, of course, for the last 10 years. And the most important hat that I wear is that of mother. So for me, it's the most important job that I have and the one that I take the most seriously.
You know, every time I see your husband, I go, God, is he big?
He's a tall guy. He's a big guy. He's at the gym every morning.
And I asked you the question, what college he played at, James Madison.
Yeah, he played football.
Great football there.
Yeah, he played football for James Madison. He's a wonderful, wonderful husband, a wonderful father to our kids.
And a great partner.
And a great partner, thank God. Without him, honestly, being a commissioner would be quite impossible. In fact, I met a young woman who said that she's interested in running for office in her local municipality. And the first thing she said is that my husband's not supportive. And I said, well, you got to cross that bridge. You got to earn his vote first. And do not pull the trigger on running for office until you have your full family behind you. And she was very appreciative of that advice.
The big issue in Miami, affordability. Let's talk about that in your district and in the county.
Yeah. Miami, when I ran for office for the first time 6 years ago, back in 2019, more than 6 years ago, because I came into office in 2020, I said that Miami is quickly becoming world class, but world class for who? And it is our job to do everything we can to make sure that our residents are not priced out of this paradise that everybody is moving here and everybody is trying to be a part of. And sadly, it looks like that's the direction that things are going in, right? Things are growing in Miami-Dade County, but it seems to be more for the affluent and the billionaire class. And we need to work very, very hard, which I have done, to make Miami more affordable for our residents.
The challenge you have, you go from the poorest of the poorest to very wealthy. How do you handle that?
Yeah, in District 8, it's a very diverse group of residents. And frankly, it's an honor to represent such a diverse demographic. Different districts within Miami-Dade County are not as diverse. District 8 is very large from a geographic standpoint, and it's also very diverse. And it really is an honor for me. I came from very humble beginnings. I think you've heard me say before that I was born at our public hospital at Jackson. I went to all Miami-Dade County public schools. I lived in our public housing. And I'm the first in my family to go to college, much less become an attorney. And so I understand the spectrum of residents, and I fight for every resident, whether or not you are, living in the poorest of the zip codes of District 8 or in the most affluent. To me, it is completely irrelevant.
Miami-Dade County is only as good as the bottom. And that's your challenge.
Yeah.
Transportation. Let's talk about that.
Sure. Transportation. Transportation really means traffic. That's what it means to our residents. Like, we're elected and we're making big, very expensive decisions, meaning with price tags that are hundreds of millions of dollars. And we talk about transportation. For our residents, what it means to them and their families at home is traffic. And they want us, as their electeds, to find solutions to reduce traffic in Miami-Dade County. That is their bottom line. And so we're tasked with finding those solutions. And everybody talks about the SMART plan and very big billion-dollar projects in the North Corridor and the West Corridor and the Beach Corridor. I have been focused, however, on smaller projects to help with the congestion right here in District 8. And those projects have proven very successful in alleviating even incremental amounts of traffic for our residents. And I'm going to continue looking into different opportunities, because whether it's traffic circles or the bridge on 87th, these are smaller projects that don't cost billions of dollars that allow for the flow of traffic to move faster and get our residents where they need to go.
I just did a video on traffic on US 1. By the way, 1935, there used to be a passenger train that used to go all the way to Keys. I don't know who, a hurricane hit, they stopped that.
Yeah.
So, Bridge 87th Avenue.
Yeah.
I hear great feedback.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. And listen, as you know, because you're so plugged into our South Dade community, and thank you for being so active. You're always at our events. So you have your ear to the ground like I do. And, you know, while there was certainly some controversy in getting that bridge passed, meaning there was a lot of opposition, a lot of misinformation, sadly, a lot of litigation, we prevailed every single step of the way through that process. And we just cut the ribbon on that very important project for South Dade last weekend. And the feedback that we have received so far has been truly, truly positive. And people are saying, listen, it's been a breeze. We have been able to traverse that bridge without any, like it's always been there, right? And so people are feeling shorter commute times, greater accessibility already. And we expect additional comments in that regard.
Well, in the 60s, before Palmetto Bay, 77, 87, 97, 107, we're all supposed to go through. I guess we ran out of money.
Yeah, we always have resources issues, especially in our transportation department. But when I first came into office, you know, before I was appointed in 2020, I was very clear as a candidate. I wrote a letter to the residents that was unequivocal. It didn't say I support that connectivity on 87th Avenue. At this time, pending investigation or studies, I made it clear that this is something that I felt needed to be done for our community. So I ran on that issue. And then 2 years later, I was elected on that issue. And then just 2 weeks ago or a week ago, we were able to cut the ribbon on that important project.
Community newspapers have been writing a lot about transparency, a dashboard. The clerk of the court started a dashboard. How do we be more transparent in Dade County?
Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. I am one of the most vocal financial conservatives on that dais when it comes to how we are spending our tax dollars, making sure that every dollar is accounted for and making sure that every tax dollar is spent wisely, which is why I brought legislation to create a budget dashboard that we've never had in Miami-Dade County. And then shortly after that, our clerk and our comptroller created one using the dashboard that we had created through our auditor's office. And what it does is it allows us as commissioners to see in real time where budget dollars are being spent so that we're not relying on memorandums that are simply snapshots in time, that by the time it hits an agenda, the memorandum that was drafted 2 weeks ago, the numbers have changed. The same way that you bank using online applications or using your computer is the way that we as commissioners and our residents should be able to see in real time how their tax dollars are being spent. And so we're very proud of that dashboard, but that's just one example of many where I am always diving down with the administration and saying, how can we do things cheaper? How can we do things in a more economic way to make sure that our residents' tax dollars are being spent wisely?
You're in charge, I say in charge, Port of Miami.
Yeah.
When did you take that? When were you appointed that?
So I became the chairwoman of Port Miami and Miami International Airport. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was at the February or so of this year. There was a rearrangement of leadership, and that's because we had a new commissioner join us, Vicky Lopez, the commissioner for District 5. And at that time, our chairman reassigned the chairmanships of the different committees. And at that time, I received Port Miami as being the chair in conjunction with Miami International Airport.
Port Miami.
Yes.
You just took it over a couple months ago.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the fueling station, but there's so many other things.
Yeah. We have a new director, Godspeed. I welcome him. I look forward to working with him. I thought very highly of our former director. She's an amazing professional who'd been with the port for essentially her entire professional career. And listen, the port issue is something that I think everybody's very familiar with. And I think there's been a lot of discussion on the dais about it and within our community about it. And we are moving full steam ahead to make sure that we are protecting that property, making sure it doesn't turn into condos,
right,
and making sure that we save 324,000 jobs, which is what that port not only creates, because it's a huge economic engine that's far beyond that, that's supporting 324,000 jobs at Port Miami alone. And so we're confident going into eminent domain proceedings that we will be successful. And frankly, at the very most recent hearing that we had, which I think was 2 hearings ago, the sponsor of the item shared something publicly that I think is important for everyone to understand, which is that that land has always had a covenant that is very strict that says it can only be used as a fuel farm. And so in order to convert it to condos, that developer would have had to receive a supermajority vote from the commissioners.
Super vote, that's 9 out of 12?
I believe it's a supermajority vote in order to break a CDMP covenant.
That's
yes.
9 out of 13?
I believe so.
Wow.
And so that is a very onerous burden for any developer to reach, especially on a parcel of land that we all know is critical infrastructure for not only the port, but for the entire county and arguably the state of Florida.
Fisher Island has great history.
They do, yeah.
First millionaire.
Yeah.
Dorsey.
Yeah.
And owned that. So
yeah, and I think the Fisher Island community organized to get involved in that topic, and their voices are very, very important. Their voices said, we are, I don't think that they wanted, an aging fuel farm. I think there needs to be investment from the county to bring those tanks up to date, and I think we're working towards that goal. So I think all interests are hopefully going to become aligned in short order. I hope the eminent domain litigation does not go into, too difficult of a battle. But I think we're in a good position at the county. We're doing everything to protect that piece of property and make sure it doesn't turn into condos.
Airport running great. I
Yeah.
flew to Chicago last week. Just FYI, I was at the airport at 5:30. Went through TSA. American Airlines was on time.
Yeah.
I sent JC from American Airlines a text at 5:45. Your plane's on time.
Good.
But there's rumors. I know rumors are facts that you guys are trying. I say you guys.
Yeah.
To try to do something from the port to the airport?
A connector. Yeah, again, funding is an issue. I think that would be an intuitive connection for our overall transit system. I don't know that there's any funds in place in the current future in order to make that a reality. Right now, it is just chatter. I sponsored...
It's good chatter.
It is good chatter. I sponsored an item at the TPO. There was a full study done. We've had several meetings about it. And so I think that's more of a pipeline down the road idea. We would need a lot of federal funding in order to make that reality. But listen, the tunnel bridge at Port Miami was a pipeline idea, and look at how much that has been effective in the flow of traffic and commerce at Port Miami. That project is in the pipeline, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of transportation projects that are in the pipeline in Miami-Dade County that we need funding from our friends at the state and the federal government in order to bring into reality.
The pipeline is important. Like I said, when the train got blown away during the hurricane, nobody then looked down the future. We have to look down the future.
Yeah.
Your kids, my kids.
Yeah, our kids.
Got to make it happen.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about you. Where'd you grow up? What part of Miami?
Right here in Miami-Dade County, born and raised.
What elementary school did you go?
I went to Bentry Elementary.
That's on Sunset?
I went to McMillan Middle School, and I went to Sunset Senior High School. Go Knights.
Who's your favorite teacher in high school?
I was an athlete in high school, and so I had a track coach, Coach Zaholski, that really held my feet to the fire, accepted no excuses, always was pushing me. I broke school records in track and field as a junior because I tore my ACL.
School records?
Broke high school records.
Are they still there?
That's a good question. I used to be up on the wall. I've always said that I need to go back and visit. I'm sure some amazing athlete has long since broken my school record, but I think I broke the school record in the 4x100. I was the anchor, and in long jump and triple jump.
Did you have a favorite teacher in middle school?
I did. Mr. and Mrs. Bowles, they were my favorite middle school teachers because they really kind of showed me the way on advocacy. In middle school, there was a show at that time. Some people are going to be too young to remember this, but it was called The Real World, and it was on MTV at that time. And there was a cast member, I think it was the first season of The Real World, that passed away, that had a close relationship with Mr. and Mrs. Bowles, who were a married couple that were teachers at McMillan Middle School. And his name was Pedro Zamora, and he passed away from AIDS. And he was on that first season. And I worked, because I was class president of my middle school at that time, and organized a full march around our entire school and renamed the street in front of McMillan Middle School Pedro Zamora Way. And so without the leadership of...
You're the president.
I was the class president of my middle school, and we renamed Pedro Zamora Way in front of McMillan. It's still Pedro Zamora Way to this day if you go by McMillan Middle School.
And who did you lobby as a 15-year-old?
We lobbied the Miami-Dade County Commission. What do you mean? I couldn't remember. I didn't personally go to chambers to make that request.
It is changing now that students are doing more.
Right, exactly. And we love to see young people come to the chambers. But those two teachers, I thought, stood out for me because they helped me shape who I am as an advocate, frankly, today, and taught me that from a very young age, you can use your voice to affect change in your community.
Where did you go to undergrad?
I went to University of Florida. Go Gators.
Where did you get a law degree?
I got my law degree from Florida State University. Go Seminoles.
Okay. Do you have any favorite teachers there or professors?
So and it's funny because everybody asks me, oh, how do you deal with being a Gator and a Seminole? I say that I bleed orange and blue. I'm a Gator, through and through. I was raised a Hurricane, being born and raised in Miami. I went to University of Florida, became a Gator, and then a Seminole. So I feel like I'm a trifecta, at the state. But for me, my alma mater is 100% Gators. And my favorite teacher in undergraduate was Professor Hayes, Richard Hayes, and I was a philosophy major. He was my philosophy professor. I was a university scholar, and together he wrote a book on, it is called Competing Conceptions of Animal Welfare, and I was his student researcher for that book, and I spent a lot of hours in the library investigating and researching a lot of philosophical issues regarding animals and their feelings, and I was a very, very strict vegan during that time, and so Professor Haynes certainly shaped my college 4 years at the University of Florida. So I was not a sorority. I was not, I did my fair share of going out, that's for sure. But I was with the Hare Krishnas in the grass, eating tofu and being a full vegan and fighting for animal rights as a young. Still? I'm not a vegan anymore.
No. A little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but not anymore. Not nearly as much as I was in college.
Public safety, fire department, sheriff department.
Yeah.
By the way, fire chief Ray.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
2 blocks there used to be a market called Joe's Market.
Okay.
And there was a kid this big, and he had to stay with his mom late at night.
Yeah.
30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Was that Ray?
That was Ray.
Oh, interesting. Did you know him even then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That was the local market.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this place 30 years ago?
It's amazing.
Every time I see him, I loved his dad. It was just incredible. They were incredible people. They raised a beautiful child. Yeah.
We are big fans of Chief Jadala, and even his predecessor, Chief Kaminsky, was an amazing leader of our fire department. And if you know anything about South Dade and District 8, we have a very strong presence of service members, whether you're in uniform for the military, whether you're in our fire department, or whether you're in law enforcement. That is a large demographic and a large makeup of District 8. And so we never waver in supporting our law enforcement, in supporting our men and women in uniform. We create events honoring them. Like, we do not mess around. We are unequivocal in our support for our men and women in uniform in the South. And they seem to be grateful to us for our leadership on that. And we're certainly grateful to them for their service to our community.
And before your time, it used to be a military base. Now it's a reserve base.
Right.
And that hurt us.
Yeah.
Just less people there.
Yeah.
All right. Supporting your community. How do you support, people go, she does this for me, she does this. Tell me all the good things you've done in that district.
Wow. Honestly, I feel like we've done a lot. I feel like we have a very, very constituent service focused office. I run my office the way that I run my law firm, meaning we open cases, we close cases, I track cases. My team reports into me at the end of every week what they've done, what they've accomplished, who they've helped, what cases remain open. We're full on accountability, full on transparency, and we collect testimonials from our residents on how we're doing. Have we serviced your issue to your, level of expectation? And we gather that data to see how we can improve, how we can help our residents as best we can. And so we're very hands-on when it comes to helping our residents when they have a phone call and they have an issue in their backyard. We're also very big on giving back to the community of District 8 and creating community, whether it's through events, whether it's supporting our community-based organization. Yeah, I believe in creating community. I believe that when you bring a group of people together around a common goal and a common purpose, we unite in ways that others would not necessarily like for us to. And I mean like mainstream, big, the big conversation is that we're all so different and we're so divided. I don't believe that that's true. When you put a group of people together, you start having conversations about your family, you start having conversations about what you like to do on the weekend, you start having conversations about your faith, and it allows for the community to connect. And so we're very big in District 8 on creating community, whether that's Fourth on the Fairway or Hometown Heroes, which we do in October, which is honoring our first responders. I love bringing people together because there is a spirit and an energy about seeing a group of people across all different walks of life, sharing a space and sharing a celebration around a common purpose.
We all say Miami's the greatest place to live, work, play. Start, live, work, play, worship, and learn.
That's right.
There's no better place.
There's no better place than Miami, really. Right. And honestly, those of us that have been here our entire lives, we've known that. It's not a secret to us. We just have others that are catching on to how amazing we are, and we welcome them. We just need to balance the interests and balance the issues that come with a different population moving into our community. And again, the population that seems to be moving in is a very elite billionaire class, which of course we welcome. They support our tax rolls, but we want to make sure that Miami-Dade County is not a community exclusively for the wealthy and for the billionaire class. We have to prioritize our working class residents, which is my mom, which is my stepdad, which is the community where I was raised, and that's what we continue fighting for in District 8.
Cutler Bay, that big mall they're building.
Yeah.
They figured it can't beat the transportation, so we're going to bring businesses there.
Sure.
Let's talk about Cutler Bay.
Yeah, Cutler Bay is a wonderful, wonderful municipality in District 8. We represent Cutler Bay, Palmetto Bay, portions of North Homestead, and a large portion of unincorporated Miami-Dade in the Falls, E-Lake area. And Cutler Bay is an amazing community, just like Palmetto Bay and Homestead are amazing communities. And Cutler Bay is spearheading a lot of very important infrastructure. I call it infrastructure because I think creating jobs, I think creating reverse transportation patterns are all part of our infrastructure analysis. And I am very optimistic about the remodel and the renovation or reconstruction of the South Dade Mall because I think there's a lot of opportunity and potential there. Just like, what is it called in Doral? I think they have like a city place, right?
In downtown Doral.
A downtown.
Incredible.
We really are ripe for something like that in South Dade and in District 8, and I'm very supportive of Cutler Bay's efforts to create that.
Tim, the mayor, he was born and raised there.
Yeah.
So he has a vested interest.
Yeah.
But that's the difference.
Yeah.
He understands it.
Yeah.
Homestead has great history. Let's talk about Homestead a little bit.
Sure. Homestead is...
How's it coming along?
Sure. I mean, Homestead is a wonderful municipality that we work very, very well together. I know that the number one issue in Homestead is likely how to manage development because they have a lot of land in Homestead that the developers are seeking to change into residential housing. And so I don't know if there's still a moratorium on development in Homestead, but I know that for some time there has been. And so they're balancing a lot of the issues that we face at CDMP and zoning hearings at the county commission. And so we're very close with the mayor of Homestead. He just texted me at our last BCC hearing on an issue on the agenda. And so we stay very close to our municipal partners, whether it's Homestead, Cutler Bay, or Palmetto Bay, to make sure we monitor their hearings, listen to whatever needs they have. And if anything hits an agenda that they either support or oppose, they have my cell phone number. They reach out to me directly.
The mayor of Homestead, you can't help but love the guy because he's so stoic, but he loves Miami-Dade County.
Yeah.
He loves
I think
Homestead.
he's born and raised here also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he has.
And so,
And his father was the mayor.
That's right. So he is a generational presence in the South. And, I always respect everyone, whether I agree with you on every issue or not. Frankly, we're never going to agree on everything. And so, when you have a presence like that, where the community is, basically in their blood, I have a respect, obviously, for the Homestead mayor.
What's the vision of Miami-Dade County? What's your vision?
I think that's an excellent question. I think that we are at a really critical turning point in Miami-Dade County, particularly as property tax reform hits the ballot in November, particularly as we become the location where everybody in the world wants to be, particularly as we have transportation issues that grow and a transportation budget that gets further and further behind. We have to find a way in order to bridge all of those to prepare Miami-Dade for its future. And we're writing the script right now. We're authoring that book as we go into elections and as we elect the leaders of this town to say, hey, are we going to build a Miami-Dade County that is only focused on making sure that our wealthy get wealthier? Or are we going to build a Miami-Dade County that puts residents first and is focused on taking care of the needs of our residents, irrespective of whether or not your bank account has 10,000 zeros in it?
People get confused. They think the county commission is in charge of the school board.
Yeah, no, completely separate entities. The school board is an entirely separate body that has its own set of elected leaders that governs that budget and governs all of the policies and construction and development on all of the property that is owned by our Miami-Dade County School Board. So our district is heavily, if not exclusively, represented by Luisa Santos, who is our District 9 School Board committee member. She's
went to
Palmetto, and she's a wonderful representative of the South.
I think we answered everything.
Yeah, thanks.
What you've done in the South is incredible.
Thank you.
The former commissioners did great. You did better.
Thank you.
Impressive.
I appreciate that.
The one thing the county commission needs to learn is don't say it's your district.
Yeah, it's all of our districts.
All of us.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. When we had the seafood festival at the Deering Estate a couple of months ago, one of my colleagues had a tent right next to mine, right?
Senator?
It's not as Senator Renee Garcia. I share that to say I am not the district commissioner that says, stay out of my district. This is District 8 territory. I love it when the commissioners come and visit District 8. I love it when you sponsor events. I love it when you come to the South and spend time with us so that you can understand how special and unique our community is, so that when we have CDMP and zoning applications come before the board, when we have applications asking to move the urban development boundary, and I say, this application is inappropriate, this application should not pass, this application is regarding and affecting sensitive environmental lands, this application should die. I'm hoping that the time that my colleagues spend in District 8, they are learning why I'm advocating as hard against those applications and will join me so that I'm not the only voice on that dais fighting against, for example, moving the urban development boundary, which we face time and time and time again.
People get confused on the boundaries. It's not just west.
It's east and it's west. Remember, Miami-Dade is flanked by two extremely environmentally sensitive lands, right? Biscayne Bay and the Everglades. And if we lose sight of that, if we become a commission that completely disregards our environment and how sensitive those lands are, we're not just compromising our children's future, we're compromising our children's drinking water. We're compromising their future in the most significant of ways. And so since day one, I've been a champion of our environment, and I'm always encouraging my colleagues to pay attention to these issues. There are a number of pending applications before the board now on environmentally sensitive wetlands that I've had a very strong position against, and I will continue to have a strong position against. But our environment is not a theoretical issue that just kind of floats out there. It's very real, and it's very much a part of the analysis of long-term planning in Miami-Dade County. And so I welcome the commissioners to my district so that they can better understand how sensitive those environmental issues are.
If the other 12 commissioners come to the seafood festival, they'd go, this is the melting pot of Dade County.
That's right. If they came to the Redland, if they saw our sprawling acres of land, right? If they understood what outside of the UDB looks like in completely rural agricultural land that most of them have never visited before, they would understand why we fight so hard to protect it.
All right, everybody. When's the election?
August 18th.
August 18th.
Early voting starts August 3rd. Vote by mail ballots are already out. Return your ballots.
Here she is. You got any questions? Go to their webpage.
DCH.vote.
Everybody, have a great day.